Hello, my name is Jennifer Winkleman. I'm going to be doing this test 3 Math 111 review. This self-test is all about polynomials, adding, subtracting, multiplying, dividing, factoring, all those kind of things. So one thing you need to make sure that you have a scientific calculator so that you're able to do this. And I will go over the illegal maneuver, as some teachers call it, with factoring. And I will also show the trial and error method or the AC method, however your teacher does it. Everyone seems to do it a little different, so I'm going to try to do it those two ways. One of them should fit into what your teacher does. If not, just keep doing what your teacher has shown you to do so that you're not confused if you don't get the way that I'm doing it. I want to make sure that you understand it, not kind of try to mess with it more. Well, now for that, let's go ahead and get started. We're going to start by dividing this polynomial by this monomial here, and you might have one of these on the test. It's just going to be something similar to this. You could have stuff in the denominator left over, which we'll see. Your best bet is to start off by rewriting each of these over your denominator. Break them up, each one of these, and you can do this. This is totally legal. So I go ahead and I do this, and now I'm going to divide them each individually, which I think is a lot easier. So here, 3 goes into 9 3 times, and I have an x to the 4 and an x cubed, so I'm going to have a bigger x left over in the numerator. I have nothing in the denominator now. This next one, 3 goes into 6 twice. And notice I have a smaller x on top and a bigger x on the bottom, so I'm actually going to have an x left over on the bottom, so I need to write that in the denominator like that. Now this next one, we notice that 3 goes into 9 3 times, but we notice that these x's have the same exponent, which means that they cancel out completely. There are no x's left over. And last but not least, we see here in this last one that 3 goes into 9 3 times, but I have no other x's to cancel, so that comes along. Now, you might be thinking, can I combine anything here? And you can't. Notice, nothing has the same variable and exponent so that we can combine, and because of that, we're going to leave this, the last one here, as our answer. Now, number 2 is telling us to evaluate the even polynomial at y equals 4. Your best bet here is to plug all this into a calculator, replace your y with a 4, get your answer, try to show them some work, so that you can do it. So I will go ahead and replace everywhere I see y with the number 4, and I'm going to go ahead and multiply. The first one, 4 squared, is going to be 16. So I'm going to have negative 2 times 16, and I'll deal with that later, plus 28, 4 times 7 minus 5. Like I said, that becomes negative 32 plus 28 minus 5. In the end, I should get negative 9 for my answer. Now, most of you should be able to go and plug that into a calculator and get negative 9. You write out what you're doing so your teacher will give you full credit. The next one is asking us to multiply the binomial using FOIL. Now, I'm sure your teacher has really driven home FOIL with class. Okay? And FOIL stands for the first, outer, inner, last. So if you look here, these two are the first thing. So I multiply them first. I get x squared. Then I have my outers. So if you look at this, your x and your 2 are your outers. Okay? They're on the edges. So 2 times x is plus 2x. Now my inners are these guys, right? The ones that are right in the middle. So multiply those and I get 8x. And last but not least, my last, 8 and 2, multiply those and get 16. Now, your middle terms, you should be able to combine them, okay? I haven't seen any problems anywhere where there's an issue where you can't combine your middle terms or anything weird. And you might run into a problem that you might have. Well, I'm going to show you a little later with problems where you have an x and a y, and students make the mistake of mixing up the order, and then they think it's something else. We don't have that here. So in all these problems, your middle terms, you need to combine them or else you're not going to get full credit. And so 2x and 8x gives me 10x, and I just copy the 16 and the x squared because I can't add them to anything else. I can't combine them with anything. So that is my answer for foiling this problem out. Now let's talk about this. They give us this expression, negative 3x to the 5th power right here. They're asking us if it's a monomial, binomial, or trinomial. Well, there's only one thing here, which means it's got to be a monomial. How do I know if I have binomial and trinomials and so on is you have multiple things that are separated by pluses and minuses. Now there's a fancy trick of a teacher doing something like this. And you might think, oh, that's a trinomial, but notice those have the same exponent. It's technically a binomial because I can simplify and I can go ahead and make that 2x plus 2, and now I do have a binomial. So I'm just telling you, be careful. I don't think your teacher's going to give you any trick ones like that on the test, but hey, it's putting it out there. The next thing says, what's the degree? Your degree is your highest power. So whatever the highest power is in the problem, 5. The leading coefficient is whatever's in front of the variable with the highest power. In this case, -3. That's it for that one. We have another one just like it. Now in this problem, look at this. We need to figure out if this is a monomial, binomial, or trinomial. Well, notice even though they're both 5 here, but one's an x, one's an x squared. So I have 3 completely different things. It's a trinomial. Now what if I had 4 or 5 completely things? In that case, it would be a polynomial, okay? We don't have like quadnomial or anything like that. The next question says, what's the degree? Well, my exponent is a 2. And what's my number in front of that? A 5. And I'm finished with this problem. That's it for that one. Now let's multiply this one out real quick, okay? And this is an issue that I was talking about. Notice here you have an x and a y, okay? And we're going to see if we do use FOIL. It says this, don't worry about that, we're using FOIL, okay? We always use FOIL, and no teacher can tell you not to use FOIL or take off points because you did use FOIL. I wouldn't think so. Whoops, I don't want that. Come on down here. There we go. So using my FOIL, this and this multiplied together is going to give me 6x squared. Then this and this multiplied together is going to give me plus 14xy. And then this and this, my innards, is going to give me negative 6xy. Now here's the deal. You might be thinking, well, wait a minute. The 2y came first. Why isn't it YF? Well, what happens here is I see a lot of students at this point go, well, these two aren't the same. I can't combine them. They're not like terms. X and Y are not in the same order. It doesn't matter the order. X, Y, and YX are the same. As long as the exponents match, you're good. So I can write it as YX or as XY. It's up to me, okay? But what I'm telling you is to keep it consistent. Even though the y comes first, when I do negative 2y times 3x, make it xy, or make it yx, keep it the same. Because what you're going to do is you're going to get there and go, they're not the same, make the mistake of not combining them and not get full credit. So please do that, okay? So it's negative xy, 6xy. Now last but not least, my last, negative 2y and 7y gives me minus 14y squared. Now, I can combine these. They are like terms. So, 6x squared, 14 minus 6 is going to give me plus 8 xy minus 14 y squared. And I can't combine anything else. I'm finished at this point. So please, 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 if you have a problem like this on your test, do not make the mistake of switching up your x's and y's or whatever the variables are and getting it incorrect because you don't think you can combine them, okay? I see it happen all the time, and I just wanted to point it out. So I'm going to stop this one here. I'm going to pick up with some properties of exponents.